Hello everyone, this is Nishikant from MetricStream's Platform Product Management. I'm also joined by my colleague Neha, and both of us will take you through the key M7 platform capabilities in today's session. From here on, I'll let Neha cover the first topic, followed by me. So over to you, Neha.
Thanks, Nishi. Hi, everyone. I am Neha, and I am also part of the platform product management team. This would be the agenda for today's session. We will have two topics to be covered. The first one is organization management, as part of which we will look at the framework which has been built to perform organization restructuring. And the second topic is enriched document editing experience, where Nishi would be talking about editing documents on server using Microsoft Office apps. In today's session, I am going to talk about organization restructuring as one of the aspects of organization management. So over the last couple of years, we have worked on enhancing the capability of organization management. And as part of this, we have built multi-dimensional organization structure, or MDOS, which helps large enterprises in managing their complex organization structure within the application. So with this, platform now has the capability of handling both single dimension as well as multi-dimensional organization structure. Now, to enhance this process of organization management, we have brought in the capability of organization restructuring as well. So let's begin by first looking at what organization restructuring means. So organization restructuring is the change that enterprises bring in into their organization structure due to internal or external factors. Now, these changes could be brought in by mergers, acquisitions, there could be hierarchical changes, or a unit getting laid off. Now, all of these changes would eventually lead to the organization structure getting changed. Now, how do we manage organization restructuring efficiently in GRC platform? Now, whenever there is an organization restructuring, there is an impact on the tasks which are associated with the organization, along with the users who are working on these tasks. So we need to handle the impact. Secondly, we need to ensure that there are no tasks which are orphaned in the system. Now, this could typically happen whenever an organization gets retired. And lastly, we need to ensure that there are no data inconsistencies in the system and that data integrity and data security is maintained post restructuring. Now, we have seen many of our large enterprise customers performing this process of organization restructuring, where they manually handle the impact by using Excel sheets, scripts, etc. So this is where we have developed this framework, which will help our customers in performing organization restructuring, and it will also take care of handling the impact. So the core capability of this framework are, it supports different operations. So it supports move, retire, merge, split, and spin-off operation. It is an automated process wherein it identifies all the impacted tasks automatically. And it also takes care of the impact where it enforces the user to handle the impacted tasks within the system. And lastly, it also takes care of data integrity within the system. So it actually identifies all the inconsistent tasks and displays them to the user. Along with all these capabilities, it also takes care of the overall cost which is involved whenever an organization gets restructured, or the cost involved in reassignment of the tasks. Now, this framework involves the user to go through 5 different stages. So it begins by user first initiating the request of organization restructuring. And in the second stage, the framework actually assesses the impact and identifies all the impacted tasks in the system. In the third stage, the user is expected to handle the impact by taking an appropriate action on them. In the fourth stage, the framework actually verifies if there are any data inconsistencies in the system. And in the last stage, the user, once he gets to know that there are certain data inconsistencies in the system, he is expected to correct them. So this is how the framework takes care of performing the process of organization restructuring. So now let me switch to a live instance and show you how this process can be performed. So to perform this activity, you need to log in as an admin. And once you log in, you will be able to see a landing page with the name of organization restructuring, which has been developed to perform this activity. So as I mentioned, the first step is to initiate the request. And to do that, there is a form available in the system called Restructuring and Impact Assessment Form. So on this form, the user needs to provide the input, as in what is the organization that he wants to restructure and what is the operation that he wants to perform. So let me select the organization here. So I am going to restructure GRC operational risk, and I am going to perform the operation of move. So as I mentioned earlier, the framework supports different operations. So as part of move operation, the organization moves to a different parent. So as part of this operation, the hierarchy gets changed. And when the organization is moved to a different parent, along with the organization, its child organizations also move. As part of the retire operation, the organization is actually end dated. And the third operation of maintain transactions basically takes care of assessing the impact for a retired entity, and it also helps in the spin-off operation. So for the demo purpose, I'm going to demonstrate how the move operation can be performed. So once the operation is selected as move, it also asks for the target organization where the organization needs to be moved. So I would select the organization as enterprise risk. So once all the inputs have been given, it actually tells you which are the impacted organizations. So as you can see right now, it only displays one organization. So the next step is to actually submit this request. And once the request is submitted, the user is brought back to the landing page. And now he can actually see the request in this table out here, which is the organization restructuring request. So there is a request ID generated for the request which I just submitted, and I can see the other information as in the organization name and the status. So as you can see, the status currently shows as marked for movement, meaning it has not moved yet. So this is the part where it enforces the user to handle the impact before the restructuring actually takes place. Now you can see that there are 19 transactions or tasks which are getting impacted. To view them, you need to click on the request ID here, and you will get to see the impacted organization in this report called Impacted Organizations and Transaction Summary. And right now, the assessment status is being shown as pending action because I have not yet taken any action on the impacted tasks. So to do that, you need to click on the impacted organization, on which a report gets opened up, which is the impacted transactions report. So at this point, we are done with our stage 1 of initiate and stage 2 of assess. Now comes the third stage where the user needs to handle the impact by taking an appropriate action. So in this framework, we have 4 actions which the user can take to handle the impact. So there is a replace action out here. So as part of replace action, the organization with which the task is associated is actually replaced with another organization. As part of cancel action, the task is put into cancelled state. As part of ignore action, there is no change done to the task and it remains as is in the system. And as part of remove action, the occurrence of the organization on the task is actually removed. This report also has certain filters out here using which the report can be filtered. So you can filter it based on the package, on the type, as well as the status. So now these are the impacted tasks which can be seen in the report. So there are 19 tasks in this report, and you can see the ID, title, type, status, form status for all these tasks. Now along with this, there will be some information which will be very specific to the task, which can be seen in the expander section here. So you can see the owner organization, you can see the approver for this issue task. Similarly, if I click on this section for a risk task, I would be able to see a different set of data. So these are the contextual fields using which the user would know what action should be taken on the task. So let's start by taking actions. So let me filter the report for all the issues. So there are 7 issues in the system which are getting impacted. So I would select all of these and I would click on replace. Now, as part of replace action, it is going to ask me what is the target organization with which I want to replace my impacted organization. So to select that organization, you do click on this and select the target organization. So I'm going to select my target organization as LOB risk. Click on add and click on proceed. So once this is done, all these 7 issues are going to be marked for replace action. So the framework does not take action right away. It actually marks all the tasks and then takes all the actions towards the end. Now let me filter the report for risk tasks. So there are 6 risk tasks which are getting impacted, and I would select all of them and I would take a cancel action. So as part of cancel action, all these risk tasks would be put into cancel state. I'll click on proceed and then submit. Now in the next iteration, I am left with 6 tasks out here. So what I would do is I would select all the control tasks and take an ignore action on them. So as part of ignore action, no change will be done to these control tasks and they will remain as it is. And lastly, I would take remove action on the asset task. Now, let me show you something. So as part of remove, as I mentioned earlier, if there are 2 occurrences of the organization, then one of them, which is the impacted organization, would be removed as part of remove action. So let me show you something here. So you can see that this asset task is associated with 2 organizations. One is GRC operational risk, which is my impacted task, and the second one is Acme Corporation. So when I take a remove action on this asset task, GRC operational risk is going to be removed, and this asset would continue to remain in the system associated with Acme Corporation. So now that we are done with taking actions on all the impacted tasks, we need to go back to the landing page. And here we can see that the assessment status has now changed to assessed. Now, once all the actions have been taken, this gear icon gets shown up, and then you need to click on proceed. So at this point, all the transactions will be actually processed with the action that have been taken on them. And now you can see the status has got changed to moved. Now, because we have taken action on the tasks, it could lead to some data inconsistency in the system. Now, how do we verify that? To do that, there is a report available in the framework, which is called Data Anomaly Summary Report, which basically displays all the inconsistent transactions in the system. So you can see for the request that I submitted, there are a couple of anomalies in the system. To view these anomalous transactions or tasks, you need to click on the number. And on click of that, there is this data anomaly report which is available in the system, which basically displays all the inconsistent tasks. So you can see all the issues on which I had taken replace action are being displayed as anomalous. Now, what is the anomaly here? How do we know what went wrong? To do that, you need to click on the expander section again, and you would be able to see certain fields highlighted in red. Now, these are the fields which are in an inconsistent state. So you can see for the approver field, it says the message as Anand GRC doesn't have a valid association with the approver organization. So if you remember, I had taken a replace action. And as part of that, my organization got changed from GRC operational risk to LOB risk. But the user does not belong to this LOB risk, which is why it's an anomaly. Similarly, if you remember, I had taken a remove action on the asset task. And as part of that, the impacted organization, which is GRC operational risk, got removed. And here again, the user, which is Allen GRC, does not belong to Acme Corporation. So now we know that there are certain tasks which are in an inconsistent state and we need to rectify them. To do that, this report has to be exported into an Excel. So I already have the Excel here, and you can see that the Excel also highlights the fields in red. Now these are the fields that the user needs to correct. Now when it comes to rectifying the anomalies, there are two ways of doing it. One is to actually assign the user to the organization, or the second way of doing it is to actually replace the user with the user who is actually belonging to the organization having the right role. So for this demonstration, I am going to do the second. I'm going to take the second option of replacing the user. So I already have the rectified Excel here. I'm going to show that. So you can see I have replaced the user Anand GRC with Barry Brown, who actually belongs to LOB risk. So I have corrected all the records except for one, which is the asset record. So once the sheet is rectified, this needs to be uploaded into the system. Now to do that, there is a form which is available in the system, which is called import rectify data form. And the Excel which has been rectified needs to be uploaded there. So I'm going to attach the Excel here. So once the Excel is attached, the request needs to be submitted. Now, once this is done, there is a job which is scheduled to run every fixed interval, which takes care of processing these import requests. So let me go back to the landing page and show you that once the import request is submitted, there is a report available called Rectified Data Summary Report, which basically displays all the import requests. So you can see right now the status is showing as pending. So this is where the job would come in and actually pick up the request and start processing it. So for now, I am going to run this manually. And if I refresh now, so you can see the import status has changed to completed, meaning the request is completed and the framework has taken care of rectifying all the inconsistent transactions. So with this, my demo is done. And with this, I will hand over to Nishi to talk about the second topic. Over to you, Nishi.
Hello, everyone. Now we'll move on to the second topic for today's session, which is enriched document editing experience. We will start with the background to know what the problem statement is, and then we will move on to the actual capability that has been enhanced. In MetricStream M7 applications, so we have various types of fields in a form where a user can probably enter the text through free text fields, or we can use pick list and drop-downs for selecting from a list of values, or we can also use the rich text fields. Now, rich text fields are very key in the GRC applications because it allows us to create large narratives, also author documents, and sometimes also use it for creating the executive summaries for the audit reports. Now, this rich text field is based on a web-based editor, so which means it does have certain limitations. Although we can create formatted content, it does not allow all the formats that a typical Word document would allow. Because of this, what happens is if there is any specific format or a rich content that needs to be created, then we would have limitations. And even if we, let's say, look at copying the content from another document, then still the original format does not get retained because the editor is a web-based editor. Now, due to these limitations, what happens is the users usually tend to focus more on correcting the formats rather than the content itself. And this leads to a lengthier review process of the document editing. Now, similar to these limitations, we also have certain limitations in other type of documents which are based on the attachment files, right? Now here we can upload the Word documents as a physical file into these attachment fields, and then whenever there are any edits required, we can either download and upload the updated documents. Now what happens is, if there are frequent updates, the users usually will have to download and upload the updated document. Now, if there are minor updates, then this whole process becomes very cumbersome. And not just that, it also leads to a lot of manual errors, like uploading the incorrect documents or uploading the older version of documents. And then the whole lot of time is spent on just correcting the documents. Here too, what happens is it leads to a lengthier review process of documents. Now, to address some of these concerns, what we have done is come up with a new editing capability. In this era where we have Microsoft Office 365 or Google Docs, which allow us to edit documents using their native clients, MetricStream also has introduced a capability using which you'll be able to edit the documents directly on server just using the Microsoft Office apps. What we had done is we had partnered with some of our large enterprise customers and tried to understand the pain points. And this led us to co-innovate a new capability through which we will be able to edit some of the content in the rich text field directly using the Microsoft Word. Now, obviously, this is going to be very helpful because we will not have any loss of format, whether we directly edit it for the field or even if you're copying the content from other documents. And it could be from other Word documents, PDFs, or even the website contents. So the entire original formatting within these contents would be retained as part of this. Now, although we are using Microsoft Word to edit the content, we will still have benefit of both the worlds. That is, all the web-based application benefits such as the workflows, reportings, or using the rich forms to key in the data, as well as the desktop applications such as the Microsoft Office applications can be used to enter the content. Similar to how we have enriched the editing capability for rich text field, we have also enhanced the capability for the attachment-based documents. Now here, only for the first time, we will have to upload the Word document. And from there on, we will be able to edit these documents without having to download. And this capability is not just limited to Word document though. It can also be used for Excel as well as the PowerPoint documents. And it's not just about editing the content directly using these apps. In fact, the rich capabilities that we have within these applications, such as the review comments or the track changes, can also be enabled as part of the documents and can be used as part of the review process of the documents. And if there are any other native features within this, let's say Microsoft Word, Excel, or PowerPoint, then they can still be leveraged as part of this entire document review process. Now, one another key benefit is we can enable this document editing also on a setup where we have distributed file storage, which means there is an immediate performance benefit because the distributed file storage is used, as well as the data sovereignty is maintained, and it also ensures that we comply with certain regional security guidelines that we have across the world, right? Now, we looked at some of the key benefits of both rich text field editing using the Microsoft Word, as well as attachment-based documents using Microsoft Word, Excel, or PowerPoint. What we'll do is we'll quickly jump on to a working application and see how this pans out. So let me just switch on to a live system. So I'm going to use Internal Auditor as a demo user today and show you how the feature works out. So let me just open an existing audit report form. Now, the reason I've chosen this form is because I have both a rich text field as well as an attachment-based document. So let me touch upon the rich text field. So as I said, this can be edited directly using the Word. So let me just click on this field. As soon as we click, instead of the web-based editor getting opened, we can actually see that a Word document is being opened. And if you see, this is very similar to the Office 365 editing of documents using your desktop applications. Here, you will be able to edit the content, remove any content, as well as I said, you can enable the track changes and make sure, okay, the next set of users are either going to review or upload the document will be able to see the changes, as well as if there are any comments, then they can also be noticed, right? And some of the elements that you see here, for example, the rich coloring or the images that was not possible in the rich text field, or it had to be at least done with a higher effort, now is easily possible through the Word documents. I'll just quickly save this. Once saved, I can just close the document. And if I just need to quickly preview the content, I can click on the small refresh icon and you'll be able to see the updated content. And the entire format is retained as is. Now, another benefit and interesting feature related to rich text field is that let's say if there are organizations where there are stricter guidelines for the document authors or the writers, where they have to follow the standards of formatting or the placeholders. But there, instead of letting some of the manual errors, we can in fact map a predefined Word template for the select fields. What happens with that is, if you click on this rich text fields for the first time, you will be able to see a document which already has placeholder sections, and the user just has to go and place their data in the respective placeholders or the sections. So the users need not worry about adhering to the formatting standards. Instead, they can focus on the content itself. Now, this was about the editing of rich text field content through the Word document. Now, let's also see at attachment-based documents. Here, I have already uploaded a document called Draft Audit Report, and you see that it is a Word document. Now, typically, if you had to edit this document, you would have to download it, make edits to it, and then upload it back, right? However, with this new capability, you can just directly click on this link, and you'll be able to open the Word document without having to download. And here again, you'll be able to just directly make changes to the content. So I'll just change the rating. I'll just save the document. And now the document is directly saved with the updated content on the server. So you saw that we did not have to download or upload the document. Okay. And this capability is not just limited to the docx or the Word document, as I said. It can also be used for the PowerPoint and Excel documents. So I'm sure you like the rich editing capability where we could directly use the Microsoft Office applications to edit both the rich text fields as well as the attachment based documents. With that, we have come to the end of this session, and I hope you have liked the session. And we request you to please attend the other tracks and sessions that we have as part of the GRC Summit. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.